welcome back to Attingham Park. And I'm following on fairly quickly from the last video. I've just sat and finished doing the bulk of the ploughing. I have also finished ploughing the headland at the other end of the field, but I did say I was going to do the headlands ever so slightly differently. So I thought I'd show you what I meant by that. And basically, nothing super clever. Rather than maneuvering that gigantic plough around the headlands, I've hooked up one of our smaller ploughs to the JCB because the JCB is very maneuverable, obviously, so it's kind of nice for fitting around the boundaries of the field. And actually, I managed to get through the other headland fairly quickly with this slightly narrower plough. So yeah, no real rocket science going on here, just making use of some of the other kit that we have available to... It felt like it would be easier, basically, to use something of a length that I am more comfortable. Yes, you can laugh. But yeah, I'm going to get the headland plowed in. I'm just going to go back and get that little bit that I missed. Actually, we probably want to turn it back. And then we'll get these two fields seeded. So we have a really nice, I'd forgotten, a really nice Lemkin drill. And I am planning, just for kind of, because it will look cool, almost. I'm going to run a roller on the front of... I have not decided which tractor I'm going to use to seed yet. May well be the Deutz. I don't remember the horsepower requirement for the seeder, but I'm going to run a roller on the front, so it'll help knock down the ridges from the ploughing, obviously, which is probably I need to fold it back again, probably a sensible thing. You know, it's pretty beefy ridges to be driving over, but like we're doing now. Ignore that, okay? So yeah, there's that. And yeah, so that's probably the job for today. Okay, so completely lost my flow there because it appears that I hit the stream button on OBS when I started recording. Actually, I should check I actually recorded that bit as well. Yeah, I'll be back again. It looks like I have been recording that, which is cool. I'm not sure where the stream went to because I can't find any evidence on it on my Twitch or YouTube channels. So that's fun. So today is Thursday. It's coming up to midday. And I am very heavily distracting myself by playing Farm Sim. So we're gonna make a bit of a video because, you know, it's what we do. We play the video games, we record the video games, we talk while we play the video games. And so the teenager is in college for an hour today, so Mrs. D's just driven her over to college while we wait. So I'm home, well, I say home alone. I've got the dogs with me, obviously. I'm not feeling particularly productive from a work point of view, and one of the cool things about my job is it's very flexible, particularly in situations like this. So I'll have to make the time up at some point in the next few weeks, but you know, it's not a problem. So I'm just sitting ploughing a field in me virtual tractor, chatting to a little black plastic box because yeah. Anywho, I don't really have a huge amount to talk about today. I don't think I've particularly spoken about the 1.9 update. I am using the 1.9 update. I've not had a play yet with the bale sheds. I think they could be an interesting addition. I Don't know yet if they work with maizePlus. I literally have not played with them. Because the update released on Tuesday. It was Tuesday. So I updated the version on my laptop on Tuesday when I got home from work. Because I got home from work fairly early, which was nice. The desktop I had to force to update. It didn't want to do the update, which was kind of weird. And then I was quite busy with work all day Wednesday through till later than I would have liked. And today I'm not feeling like experimenting. So, yeah. I've got a few... I have no idea when this clip of the start of this video will actually be out. I may get a full video recorded while I'm sitting here rambling to myself. I may not. If I do, it'll come out earlier. If not, it'll come out later. That's how this works. I do have some interesting ideas for videos planned for this week. I have been kind of struggling for ideas for the kind of how-to tutorial type videos. Usually at that point, I will go ask the patrons. Because they're usually quite a good source of things like that. But I've come up with a couple of ideas for things that I want to have a look at. Which reminds me, I need to share the video for patrons because I haven't done that yet today because I've been kind of distracted. I'll do it in a bit. So there's an idea that I spoke about on that video, and I'm going to check with Paul first that he's happy. So the alien Paul, obviously, the benevolent, evil, whatever, the ruling alien for the plumbing agency. I spoke on that video because on the series that I'm doing that the patrons see, I have every animal with maizePlus, and it's sometimes quite a lot of work. So I have started to edit the animal food additions to simplify some of them. So the pigs, for example, I've made it so base game pig feed will fill all 4 sliders, so you can just buy pig feed and put pig feed in. And I'm probably going to modify the sheep so that they don't need so much food, maybe down to sort of 2 sliders, something like that. Similarly with the chickens, probably. And again, probably down to 2 sliders, something like that. And the other thing that I was talking about in that video, and I've not seen the response yet because they haven't seen it because it hasn't been, I haven't shared the link for them, is setting it up so that the consumption for some of those animals which my testing suggested were less profitable, so they a little bit less food, so somewhere probably between the animal food additions and base game, maybe halfway between, something like that, just so that those animals are a little bit easier to make some money from, a little bit easier to care for. But as I said, I want to have a chat with Paul first, probably try and do that before I release this video actually. But I'm not in the most chatty mood for people at the moment, just to check he's happy with me releasing that. But I think people might be interested in it, so that's why. And I finding that it just kind of grew, save. Kind of like this one sort of has, except on here I don't have the chickens and the horses. But I do find that, the chickens in particular, I find are they feel like a lot of work to feed. And I'm not sure, I don't know. Any chicken owners, feel free to chip in. That wasn't at all a joke. Yeah, I have a friend that has a couple of chickens in her garden. In fact, I have a couple of friends that have a couple of chickens, and I think they just feed them chicken feed mix. Obviously the game doesn't have chicken feed as such for maizePlus, So what I was thinking with those is knocking it back to slider for wheat, barley, and sorghum. So that's kind of going to be pretty much exactly like base game feeding plus another bar. So, and the other bar would be soybeans, canola, and sunflowers, maybe, or something like that. Because I think that would probably make it a little bit easier to deal with. I say doing the 4 sliders for chickens, I found really quite a pain. The other one is sheep. Again, I find, yeah, let me put this in context. During the summer, the sheep I've got on there and on here graze 90% of their food, if not more. But it's just a bit of a pain to feed them all 4 sliders sometimes. And on here, I'll probably keep it as it is. But yeah, so I was thinking on there, and it's something that I did. I don't know if I did it in a video. I did it in FS19 for, I'm not sure why I'm bringing this back because I actually want to use this again in a minute. In FS19, I did it for the sheep that I had on a save. And I changed it so that you could use, just check on the animals, and then I'm going to sleep, I think, and we will plant in the morning. Yep. Let's just have a quick check. The beef. The beef could do with a little bit of feeding by the looks of it. And maybe the Holsteins. The pigs should be okay, and the sheep are okay. Do we have any? We don't even have a tractor on the mixer. So that tractor's been doing other jobs. Yeah, I edited the sheep. I think that's what I was talking about. Well, the feeding for the sheep. I didn't edit sheep. Gene editing is a whole different topic. I tweaked the feeding for the feed mixer is not there. It is over in the maize silage clamp, I believe. I tweaked. I'll get there. Bear with me. I tweaked the recipe or the sliders for the sheep so that it was 1 bar, and it was 1 bar, and you could put in basically hay, grass, silage, pretty much most things. And I kind of enjoyed doing that. So just reminding myself what we need to put in here. We need to put in a bale of hay, a couple of bales of grass silage, some grain mix, and then maize. So let's find something with a bale spike. And you tell I didn't plan in huge amounts of detail how I was going to do this video. I am genuinely, I am using this to distract myself from the real world for a bit. Those of you, by the time this video comes out, we will know the results of Disco's operation. But his surgery is going to happen in the next few hours, and we'll hear in the next few hours how it's gone. And I'm basically just trying to distract my brain from the reality of the world at the moment. Yeah, so that's why I'm making a video, but I didn't particularly plan to make a video today. So this might not be me seeding in the end, because by the time I've done some of the other things that I want to do, we may be done. And how long this video gets. So let's go get a bale of. I think we've got some beet pop silage around here, or some something silage. We've got a few different things around here. What have we got here exactly? I forget. We have grain grist, we have beet pulp, so the grain grist silage, or the CCM silage, that's what it is. We are going to keep for the pigs. That's what I cut it for, so that's what we're going to keep it for. But we are going to put a bale of beet pulp silage in. I then need to get a bucket on here. I'm not sure if that... I think the bucket in the clamp there is the one for this. So we can get the grain grist in, or grain mix in, that we need to include. And then we'll chuck in a bunch of grass silage. I am seeing that... I think we are not... there's grass silage there as well. So we're not massively flush with grass silage bales, but there is a load there. The green ones are whole crop silage, I think, from when we did some making of whole crop silage. That was a while ago. Is this bucket the correct bucket for what we want? It is. Awesome. It has some manure in it by the looks of it. So let's just tip that back on the manure heap. I think I unhooked it in the manure heap at some point. I'm not sure why I unhooked it in the manure heap. So, but yeah, we have actually got a decent amount of grass silage there. So, but I think probably September, October. I think we're probably going to be cutting some silage next month in game, obviously. I don't know how we'll do that. So what we could use, really good point. If you watched Kartek's last video on the Oats, you will have seen the custom fast bale that Mark Thor sent him. He also did one for me. Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. It's very cool. So that, yeah, Mark's taken Giant's fast bale. And can I put another one of those in? Sorry, let me just check. I want at least 4,500 litres, so we want another couple of thousand litres. He's taken Giant's fast bale. I haven't finished watching Kartek's video, so he's probably explained all of this. He has added the ability to make 180 centimetre wrapped bales, which is cool. He has made the pickup a bit wider, and I think he's made it a bit faster, and he's added lots more customizations in. And kind of importantly, because he did it for a bunch of content creators, he's added our logos to it, which is very cool. I do love things with my logo on. I should do it more often. I just sometimes can't be bothered to sit and do it. So obviously on the multiplayer with Kartek, I added it to the pickups that we have on there and the sheds that we have, the shed that we have on there. So yeah, sometimes maybe I should do it. So one of the things that I have done very recently, it may or may not have bugged you, but it has been bugging me, is you may or may not, particularly the very, very few of you that brought a mug. I'm not sure how good the merch is, so I'm not really pushing it and recommending people buy it. But the logo was slightly offset in the circle, or the circle was actually not quite a circle, I believe was the problem. And so I sat down last week, fixed that, because it was bugging me. I know Kartek got 109% full bale there. That's interesting. I know Kartek mentioned it when I did them on Greenlands, not Greenlands, Green Valley. Yeah, so doesn't look symmetrical because it's not symmetrical, but it is now. So yeah. Yeah, so basically it's just kind of thanks Mark for sending it over, and maybe we will use it when we do our silage on here, because I am generally making a lot of round wrap bales, so being able to make 180 centimetre round wrap bales would be kind of cool. So you can do one of those. Come on, I want to get the loose stuff. Do one of those demo things that people do, and I think it would go quite nicely on the back of the Kubota. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. Yeah, we just need to get these animals fed before we can sleep. And the grazing took care of most of the feeding over here. Obviously, the beef can't graze because they don't have access to the outside world to graze. Full enough. That's full enough. We just back this in so it's not blocking off the yard. I've got really lazy lately with, and I don't necessarily always have spaces designated to put kit away in. Let's try and not hit the telehandler. But I've got really lazy lately with parking our equipment in sensible places. And so for a long time, or for a couple of videos, the big Volvo has just been abandoned in the middle of this feed mixing area, which is predominantly what I do here. Let's not puncture one of our tyres. I think the cows are probably okay for straw. Yeah. So going back to my previous point, if you're interested in that custom feeding, edited feeding thing, so the feeding is just a little bit easier, then bung a comment below because you'll help motivate me to actually sit and spend the time to set it up. I have another one that I want to do as well, which is precision farming related. I've not done a precision farming related video in a very long time. Inspired by some discussion on the Discord, and also inspired by either a Farmer Cop or a Driver 53 video that I'd had recommended on YouTube. I generally don't watch those guys, but I think it was a Driver 53 video. It was actually really quite interesting. So I am going to, inspired by that video, looking at a slightly different topic, but inspired by, there is something that I want to have a look at with precision farming. I'm being a little bit cryptic intentionally because I want to make it before someone else makes it. I don't know if someone else has made it actually. I'm assuming they haven't, but yeah. So the reason for the slight crypticness is I want to get the video done before I share the idea, basically. So let's head over to Wellington Farm. And by the time we've done that, I don't know if we're going to get to the seeding today. I might come back and do the seeding. But this is one of these, you know, this format that I've branded almost live. It's how normal people make videos. Sorry, I had to move in my chair a bit. My posture had got very bad. That's not good for your back. How a lot of people make their farm sim videos, but it's not how I make them. So, you know, a little bit of marketing there. There's that lady that has a weird obsession with buying hundreds of thousands of litres of milk off that guy, Cartex Farm. Lost my train of thought again. You might notice that is a reoccurring theme at the moment. My head is really, really buzzed up, let's say. So generally with life, I try to look at the positive things, and I try to be positive and take a positive outlook on things. That's been really hard this week, so leading up to Disco's operation. Obviously, by the time this video comes out, whatever is going to have happened will have happened. So please be conscious in the comments that things might have turned out well or badly. I will have posted either way because, you know, people are kind of being really supportive and stuff, so I will let people know how it's turned out. But think about that before you comment on this video, because literally he could be in surgery right now as I'm recording. I mean, So yeah, so generally I try and take a positive outlook on things, but this week has been really hard. And I think, you know, we had some hard conversations, Mrs. DNA, about the choices you need to make as a responsible pet owner. And yeah, so at the moment my headspace is not particularly positive. But you know, it's part of pet ownership. It's a really horrible part of pet ownership, but it won't ever stop me having pets, I don't think, because the benefits far, far outweigh the negatives in my mind. You know, we've got the 3 that are at home with us now at the moment, as I'm recording, are all rescue dogs, you know. So the one is a failed farm dog, Welsh Collie, and then obviously the 2 ex-racing greyhounds are both, you know, both rescue dogs, and the joy they bring far outweighs in my mind the eventual pain that comes, and the you know, the other bits that come with it, and the cost and that kind of thing. And Joe, we need to cut that grass and start indirect grazing it soon. Joker has cost us huge amounts of money with his health problems, most of which aren't covered on insurance. So yeah, but I still would not trade that for the happiness that he has brought into our house. So sorry, doorbell. Yeah, and then there's Giddy, who's our big, lovable, goofy greyhound. Yeah, so let's say the pluses definitely far outweigh the negatives here in the disturbed house for us. Yeah, so sorry. I'm also strangely, for some reason, not sleeping brilliantly at the moment. Wonder why that is. So yeah, kind of tired. Yesterday we were all very edgy, stressed. We'll just see what happens in the next little while, I guess. This is probably a really good point to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate all you guys supporting the channel. It is in no small part thanks to you that the computer that I'm recording on this video exists in this house. So yeah. So we need a bale of grass silage. I think this mix is 1, 1, and 1, and then all the extra little bits we add. I think if you remember the live stream I attempted on here, which was basically me trying to make TMR up here, I kind of screwed that mix up. So I have on here both sets of cows, so the dairy and the beef have a custom TMR mix, which is, I think, is loosely based on the stuff I got from one of the guys on Discord, and friend. He works on a farm in the UK, and he sent me a whole long list of the feed that they feed. So how full is that? 80%. Yeah, that will work. And I took those recipes and I just tweaked them a little bit, partly around what we have and partly around what I like feeding. And I've done the same on, if you watch, I think it's out already, on Maple, I did the same thing. So I set up a custom feed mix on there. You obviously don't need to do that, but I enjoy doing it, so I did. So we want to go up to about 89% with the soybeans. So we'll do that. This is quite a slow silo. So I add soybeans, molasses, and grain mix to this one. And the problem I had on the live stream that I did was that I went to the grain mix bin first. I think it's grain mix. It might be mineral feed. And I think it's mineral feed actually. And I put in way too much and I couldn't get it back out. So yeah, we go to about 83%. I think it's 5% molasses. Yeah, 5% molasses. If we go to about 93%. Let's get the sliders up so people can see them. Come on. Our soybeans are a little bit high. There we go. A little bit more. A little bit more. That'll do. And then that leaves us 8% for mineral feed. So yeah, one of the things that I'd planned to do up here is some indirect grazing, because the plot of land that we brought had this space which I planted for grass. So probably in the next video we'll get some kit set up for that. I'd forgotten I needed to do it, to be honest. So we'll do that. How are these guys for straw? They're good for straw, so it was just feed that they needed. We also need to do a whole load of slurry carting, so I might get auto drive to do that while actually it can't, can it? Because I need to tweak where the trigger is, because the trigger's all the way in there. Or we need to get a non-dollied trailer. So that those fed. So let's get this parked up. We should be using, I think that's the molasses we got from the sugar mill. So when our molasses tank runs out, we will have to start using those. So the molasses tank is off Odd Hub, made by Just Add Adam, who is another friend. He a former Farm Sim Twitch streamer. So yeah, I'm going to run back to the farm, and I'll see you in the morning. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't text and drive, which is what I was doing as I made my way back to the farmyard. It is the next morning, so yeah, just making my way back to the main farm, and I was texting and driving, and I thought you'd enjoy that, because you guys like it when the planned stunts happen. They're planned stunts, right? Cool. So it looks like we've had a bunch of fields that have been harvested and cultivated. So that's kind of nice. I didn't actually look, but I doubt any of our beef is close to being at a sellable age, because I think I bought them as calves. This is a map that I really enjoy driving around. It's quite possibly the only map certainly in a very long time where I've done this kind of thing and I've actually bothered to drive between farms. I think maybe the last time I did something like that was Chellington. I had 2 farmyards and I used to drive between them. I'm more of a tabber than a driver, if I'm honest. Brake. brake, crash. To land here, will be fine. Yeah, I'm. Actually, it varies. If the vehicles that I want, I use park vehicle a lot. So, for example, I can't tab into the Land Rover at the moment. I do that to make tabbing quicker because if it's, I've got a lot of vehicles on the farm, I don't need to be able to tab into all of them all the time, so I park them. So that means I occasionally walk to other vehicles, or I'll use the map to get to them sometimes. And sometimes even if I can tab to them, I'll still walk because it's kind of nice, But yeah, we're back down at the farm. Speaking of tabbing, there is every chance that I will go to the trouble of parking the Landy and then tab to the Deutz we've just driven past. And so all the animals are okay for feed at the moment. Yeah, I'm really tempted to swap to a non-dollied slurry tank, given that we're leasing that one. We've been leasing it forever. So we are going to need to repark that. It seems to keep moving. And then we need to get our seeder out. So I don't remember what the horsepower requirement is for our seeder. 200. And then I want to add on the front one of these, which needs 160. So we are looking at 400 horsepower, give or take, with a little bit of rounding. So we are looking at the monster. So I know where that is, so let's go grab it. Kind of makes sense, I guess, that we would need to use our big fieldwork tractor for a job like this. And this feels reasonable, I think, to me. I've spoken about it a lot in different videos about how the farms near me use, from a farm sim point of view, very big tractors for jobs. And this feels like the right kind of size tractor for doing this job. I have no idea if we have any seed anywhere on the farm or any seed in the seeder, so, or fertilizer for that matter. So that'll be fun. We'll get the store to deliver some to the field if we need to, or to our normal delivery spot. So let's just, in fact, I'm going to take the advice that loads of people... Actually, I don't think that one's going to hook up on the front. Let's try it. Yep, I will. To maneuver dolly trailers on the front of a tractor rather than the back, because... And it makes sense to me when you think about it, because the steering wheels, the steered wheels at the front move a lot quicker than the driven wheels, I guess, at the back. So yeah, does make sense. And I do appreciate the advice that folks give me who have done this kind of thing in the real world, and then they go and crash and again. So I have I think only once in the real world towed a generator behind a vehicle. Oh, it didn't crash. You say this is a video game, the real world is different. But also I have very little experience in the real world of reversing trailers. It's just not something that I've really come across in life. I think if I'd kept up with my hobby of, kind of childhood hobby of sailing, I would have probably done more, because obviously maybe not obviously, I used to sail dinghies and smaller, smaller catamarans, things like that. So there's a lot of traders involved, and there's a lot of road trading involved if you go to events. So, you know, if I'd kept up with that, I would have done more with trailers. But yeah, in the real world, I have done very little using trailers. So, yeah, the real world advice that people give is actually quite useful. So let's get our front roller. And then I need to go and check which field is getting which crop. So we need a 6 meter front roller. I'm going to buy that because we're going to use it a bit more often, I think. There should be enough seed. It's quite a bit of seed. Pick up our front roller. And we'll get over to the fields. So let's fold that up and I will see you in the field. So field 29 is the field that is going to be oats. So let's unfold the roller. The roller looks kind of puny on the front of this big tractor. But yeah, I think we will have it set higher so that it just starts to knock the edges off the ploughing, because the seeder is quite a beast anyway. So I think that's how we'll play this one. Again, this is not something that I've particularly done before. This is, so the seeder is hopefully on automatic. So yeah, it's going to take us automatically up to perfect fertilization now. So it's going to top up the fertilization that we did with precision farming. And for oats, it's not needing that much, which is kind of how I wanted it. We're running seedbed reconciliation or not? We should be. We should be. If we aren't, we aren't. Oh well, we'll have to roll it again afterwards. We'll get a bigger track. We'll get a big set of rollers in afterwards to roll it in. Yeah. So this is kind of inspired by the way Paul does a lot of stuff with his farming. It's farm farming. Well done, Disturbed. Yeah, so it's kind of why I'm doing it. I think it's kind of cool. I am really struggling to find kind of front-mounted implements for doing this kind of thing. I'm half tempted to do a little bit of editing, because what would be really nice, unless someone can find one, mainly between videos, because the other field could do with it, is something on the front to mulch. I think that'd be really cool. You know, so you could put it on the front and you'll gain that mulching bonus, which is tiny. It's tiny. It's why I don't often do it. But yeah, I just think these kind of rigs look cool. You know, also noticing still no flickering of the trees, which is really nice. I know the monster claw on the front of the tractor is flickering. That's a feature of this mod. It's, other than that, it's a really nice mod. I really like it. You should know by now I have a massive monster addiction. So a monster addiction. So, you know, running a monster tractor in S seems perfectly sensible to me. I really think that for doing the up-down rows, I need to get a sim dashboard running on here. Because, so one of the things that I like about sim dashboard is it has the buttons to do the words are coming slowly, raising and lowering both implements, because I find that doing it through the keyboard doesn't always work particularly well. But sim dashboard does work well. So before we get to the up down rows, I'm going to go and activate that, because I don't have it active at the moment. But that would really help with this job. I think we're going to have to do a few headlands. What I'll probably do is do a couple of trips round, and then I will do maybe one or two more on the short runs to make turning easier. So the way the regulars will know this, the way I tend to do my field work is if I am preparing the field, so ploughing, I don't cultivate very often, but that kind of thing, I will do the up-down rows first. And there is logic to this, and it's logic that I read somewhere from Real Farming, because you want to do the headlands last, because you want to not recompact the soil after you've done your whatever field prep to it, whether that's ploughing or cultivating or subsoiling or whatever. Please remember, I'm not actually a farmer. When I'm doing seeding or planting, applying the same logic, you do the headlands first, because the field is still, the soil is still in whatever state you've left it. You haven't driven over it lots of times before you put the seed in the ground. That's the logic. Yeah, I've realised I'm not running Proceed on here either. I'm not too fussed about that on this one. I do like me a bit of Proceed, but we're using it on... Am I only using Proceed on Greenlands? No, I think I'm using it on Maypole as well. I think. I'm not certain, but I think. I should be, if I'm not, so... There we go, that's the thing. I should be using it if I'm not. So let's select the front implement and lift that up and then finish that. And pick the back implement up, and then we'll do a bit of a thingy-bobby. So obviously there's no traffic or minimal traffic on this road because it basically leads down to our farm. Really the only other traffic that comes down is the milk lorry, if we were doing that kind of roleplay thing, because we automate the selling of the milk. So yeah, that's really the only other traffic that comes down our private farm road. We seem to have put the seeder through the hedge. Oh well. Onwards. Drop the seeder down and off we go again. So I'm going to get a few more headlands done and I'll be back. Welcome back, I guess. So I have apparently lost control of my mouse. No, there we go. It is back. Done the headlands. I was going to jump out, or I did in fact jump out of the game to install words are escaping me, to activate Sim Dashboard, but I have realized I don't have the Sim Dashboard server app installed on this computer. It seems I have only been using it on the laptop so far, and randomly, timing is key. The Sim Dashboard website seems to be offline at the moment, so I can't go and grab it to install it. It's not really a massive problem because no, I didn't mean to jump in cab. I'm just manually doing it anyway. What I didn't notice when I was doing the headlands, or when I was recording while I was doing the headlands, is that the roller only runs at 6 miles an hour, whereas the seeder can go faster. But that's okay, because it means I'm able to coordinate somewhat okay the different jobs. This would be a brilliant one for the headland management mod, that I may well have installed on here, but I haven't used in a very long time, and I've kind of forgotten. And yeah, it would be perfect for this, because I need to raise and lower the front and the rear implements slightly separately. Yeah, it would be perfect to have one here. I have it installed on Greenlands, but I haven't used it in ages. Do you know what? It's one of those mods where, and it's still something that I would really like to get to, for a little while at least, or is where having just one save would be really cool, because I wouldn't forget how to use some of these mods that I use all the time. You know, like VCA, and or I need to use it on all of my saves. The other option, I guess. But so VCA I do use on pretty much every save. Oh, wrong one. So obviously I don't use the GPS element on Maypole, but I do have it installed on there because I do use the diff locks and stuff like that, and the multiple cruise controls. But yeah, so I do want to get to a period where I have one Let's Play running. It'll be Maypole for a bit, or whatever that series, whatever map that series goes to, because I want to run that series for a long time. The caveat to that is I'm really enjoying the mini series is at the moment. By the time you see this, the new mini series should be out with the grapes, and so it might be that I have, there's another caveat as well, it might be that I have, keep jumping in cab, I have the main Let's Play running, I have the mini series running, I have a problem, okay, and obviously there is the series for the patrons. So yeah, there'll be, but I would like to get to that point, because one of the things that still frustrates me slightly is the rate that my Let's Plays make progress, because I do 1.5, maybe 2 with the Following Wind videos a week on them, and so they progress really slowly, and I would like to make faster progress, so that's why I want to go down to less. I do remember saying that on here we would do some perfectly perfect fertilizing with the crop sensor, so I'm probably going to do that on the wheat field instead now, because this one is on its way. We might do it on here as well, but what I'm going to do on the wheat field, I'll do that in the next video, because this is quite a long video and I'm expecting to stop recording quite soon, is that we'll turn off automatic fertilizer, this word's in there, application. I might still apply some with the seeder, but what we'll do is we'll leave a bigger gap, because this is something that I've not tested yet. Keep pressing the wrong freaking keys. This is where having Sim Dashboard would be useful. Go. I'm having to work a lot harder doing this. Something that would be interesting that I've not tested yet with using the crop scanner is all of the tests that I did, because I was doing kind of an A/B test, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. Is I always got to perfect fertilization like I'm doing here, and then I would do the application with the crop scanner. Whereas what I want to do for this is we'll go to close to perfect. We'll see how much we need to apply. We might not apply more than 5 or 10 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare with the seeder, and we'll then do the slightly bigger jump to perfectly perfect with the crop scanner. So for those that aren't people that do this kind of stuff, an A/B test might not be the right answer, actually. I might not even be the right term. It's a term I have stuck in my head from some of the YouTube apps that are advertising stuff at me constantly, YouTube companion apps. So the way, let me explain it better. I'll explain what I have done. The way I have tested this stuff in the past is, and I think I might have mentioned it, I've used the seeder to get to perfect fertilization. I've then saved the game and progressed the harvest, harvested, and then gone back and gone. This is why I keep calling it perfectly perfect, because I already have perfect fertilization according to precision farming, but I would then go back and do perfectly perfect, which is the little bit extra that the crop sensor gives you, and then seeing the delta or difference. Sorry, I'm using work speak. A/B testing is not quite the same. A/B testing is, so the reason that it's stuck in my head is it's some of the YouTube companion apps talk about it with thumbnails. So you have the same video, but you have thumbnail A and thumbnail B, and you see if one does better or not. I think that's more of a thing for bigger YouTube channels where you could maybe do that. I've never tried it. I have occasionally swapped thumbnails. So that is something that big YouTube channels will do. I've seen it actually on, the one I've seen it on most is Jay's 2 Cents, which I know some of you watch, and I occasionally watch. And I have seen him, I'm pretty sure, or them, because although Jay is the front man, let's say team now, or he has employees, maybe calling it a team is wrong. I'm wondering if I missed a bit there. Let's just check the map. Did I miss a bit? Did I raise the cedar too early? No, it looks like I got it. I have seen them. I think I changed the title of a video rather than the thumbnail. And I think I've seen Linus Tech Tips do it as well. They're the ones where it's more obvious, because it's worked on me as well. I'm certain Linus has done it. Because I remember the video. There's a... So let me just explain what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here in the map is where I have gone over the same area twice with the roller and the seeder. It's not reseeding, so it's counting as being rolled post-seeding. I never normally roll before seeding because it's pointless, because the game expects you to roll after seeding, which is what a lot of people do in the real world too. So there was a specific type of used PC that is available on, I think, places like eBay mostly, maybe Amazon, where they take an essentially a used office PC that a company has, you know, sold on to a third party. They take that PC and the only word I can think of is they bedazzle it. I can't remember where I got that expression from. Can you think of another word that begins with "the"? Yep. Your mind went there, and that's where I think it came from in my mind. Can't remember the comedian that did it. Good sketch on it. They essentially stick a whole load of glittery, shiny stuff over it. To make it appeal to certain types of people. I'm not judging you. If you want a sparkly, shiny PC case, but LTT did a video on it, and I remember seeing it the first time and going, I'm not interested particularly in watching that video. And I don't remember which way round they swapped the titles, and I don't remember the exact details of the titles, so I'm not going to bother saying them. But yeah, I remember seeing it the first time and going, meh, I'm not really interested in watching that, to seeing it when they updated the thumbnail and the title and clicking on it and watching it. And it was actually quite an interesting video. So it does matter. I personally feel my video titling and my thumbnails are not a strength of the channel or of what I produce. I have occasionally used it, but I do have a real aversion to clickbait. I've occasionally used it because clickbait works. It's proven. A lot of other creators, even in the farm sim genre, some of the really big popular ones, use clickbait. It works. It's a mechanic in, it's why it exists. It makes you want to click on the video. So yeah, you know, it does work. It's something that I tend to try and avoid because I'm not a big fan of it. So it works on me sometimes, but quite often less. If it's a creator that I don't really like the word creator that much either, but it's what it is. If it's someone that I'm, you know, I'll watch their videos or I won't, you know, I can take or leave it. If it's clickbait, I ain't watching it. Yeah, it's just how my brain is. And I have a trait, a tendency to use VF as an example of this a lot. I don't think he watches my videos personally. I'm not even sure he knows particularly who I am, but I do watch his videos because some of his videos I enjoy, some of his streaming I enjoy. There are elements, obviously, that I don't enjoy of his content, but I do enjoy his content. He inspired some of what he did inspired me to start making videos. So before you go running off to him to say that I say bad things about his videos, equally, what he does inspired me to start making videos. My second series was based on his realism experiment because I really enjoy some of the stuff that he does. So if you do go off and run off and tell him that I sometimes say bad stuff about his videos, I also say good stuff about him because he inspired me to do this in some level. I have only ever exchanged a few messages with him. One of the first ones I exchanged with him was me, because he had this thing, you know, he published the rules of his realism experiment and he did ask that people credited him for it. And I did that because I did a series that was based on his realism experiment, and I also messaged him first to check he was cool with it. And I've swapped a couple of messages with him in the past, but yeah, so before you run off and say I say bad things about his stuff, I also say good things about his stuff because I enjoy watching some of his stuff. There are elements of his content that do trigger some of the things in my brain. And I've completely lost my train of thought. The train of thought was I do not generally click on clickbait. So we're getting through this field. I'm going to take a break from talking at this point to stop the video being stupidly long. And we'll be back probably as we wrap this field up. I'm going to warn you. There is a chance there will be another huge gap in recording of this video because right now is about the point that Disco will be being operated on. And if we get phone calls, I ain't going to feel like recording. So Amy will be back at some point with you guys to finish planting this field. Which one that is will depend on how things are going at the hands of a very, very clever vet. I do think our vet is very good. I'm not going to say who he is for many reasons. Reasons why I cut a bit out of the last Attingham video, partly. So yeah, if, you know, I may finish seeding this field before we hear. I may finish seeding. I may get partway through finishing seeding this video and we get a phone call with good news. I may get a phone call with bad news. How that goes depends on when I'm back. So I'm going to crack on and someone will be back to talk to you in a bit. Okay, so we are pretty much done on the last 2 rows. No news from the vets yet. So we will have got this video done. Obviously by now you will have known because I'll have posted in places, and it's kind of been obviously playing on my mind the whole way through this video. But yeah, looks like we're going to have back-to-back Attingham videos at some point. because that was the last video that I finished as well. Oh well. One way of making progress, I guess. Really pleased with how this setup has run. We're going to need to get the wheat planted, get both fields rolled before the end of September, end of this game day. So I have slowed the time down to get that done, and that'll be the next video on here. And then it'll be silage, because I was going to say then we'll skip ahead, but we won't. We need to cut lots of grass for silage. I might do that in November. Might try and maximise our yield. If it sounds like I'm only half paying attention, I am desperately listening out to see if the phone goes. Because, you know, right now they should be doing or finishing surgery. So, yeah. This has been a really good distraction to some extent. I've also watched Bartek's latest video. That was really good. I watched Eagles videos. They're really good as well. Really interesting topic. So go check out Eagles Gaming. He's just started making some ETS videos, but the stuff he's talking about is really interesting. So go check that out. I'll try and remember to put a link to his channel below. Yeah, really cool. Really, well, not really cool, but really interesting. But yeah, go give his video a watch. You might learn something. Learning is good. And we have a field of oats done. I just pull forward to it. We have a field of oats done. So let's lift the seeder up, turn it off, hold it, and just check it. You can see most of the field needs rolling, just the bits where we doubled up, but actually it was pretty good for not overusing stuff. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions below, and I'll see you next time.